Mini Jake, the tribe has spoken.
Fuck you, Kevin.
Aw, fuck you too, sweetie.
I'm JJ, one of the original Tribe of Nerds members. You can catch me on Marvel, Pokemon, and other gaming podcasts.
What up? It's Josh, resident superhero nerd, but I also dabble in the occasional super villain as well.
Some may know me as the Chaos Gremlin, but really I'm just Joe King.
Pikachu, use Volt Tackle! Good job, Pikachu!
On the Tribe of Nerds.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Kristin, Shane, and I are here for episode 10 of Deal or No Deal Island. Right before the finale, it looks like. So, pretty exciting to talk about the last couple weeks of this show.
Yeah, I mean, what's funny is like this episode was like meant to leave us on a cliffhanger, and it's not even a cliffhanger, which I know we're gonna get to, but my God, what's the point?
Yeah, and like they didn't even have a temple, which I'm like, aren't you supposed to have a temple after all of these episodes? And this one didn't even have it.
Yeah, like watching it, we're just like, wait, is that the end of it?
Yeah, we didn't even like realize that it was the end of it. We thought there was a little bit more left.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's now the second show this week to do that, because Australian Survivor did that too.
What is happening in the world right now?
Yeah.
I mean, this will probably be one of our shortest recaps we've ever done because there's really nothing to like really dive in here. I know I'm excited to get to this like challenge because I also I have a lot of things that I have thoughts on with this challenge.
Yeah.
Should we just jump into it?
Let's go for it.
Let's do it.
All right, I'm jumping right in. Letty, shut up. Just shut up. The fact that, listen, I don't even care. Come for me, all you Letty people, because she was completely, her, CK, and Philip, completely insufferable in the first 5 minutes of this episode. I wanted to gouge my eardrums out and like just like go drown myself in the ocean at this point. Like I'm not even drowning people in the ocean. I want to drown myself in the ocean because I don't want to listen to them anymore. They are so annoying. And the fact they're like, Ted Dixon, oh, my island. Like the fact she brought up my island boyfriend 500 million times. Please sit down and shut up. Like this is the biggest like slap in the face as like any Dixon fan, or even if you are Dixon watching this back. I won't go on a full blown rant, but like Letty Dixon or Letty, Philip, and CK, shut up.
Right, because like way back when, he didn't do that when he took out Storm. It was kind of like he did it, and then that was that.
It's again another like, look at me, I'm so good, I took out Dixon. So stupid. I hate her.
Woof, woof.
Yeah, definitely to me screams like wants attention. Trying to become an influencer.
Yeah, I can see that as well. I mean, there's the people that absolutely are playing up for the cameras instead of being natural. It kind of reminds me also of like Australian Survivor just had this as well with Max. I think Max was also doing the same type of thing. So
yeah,
it's I don't know. I just have no respect for, and again, I say this every like episode. This is by an edit. I do truly believe that these people are like this in real life because sometimes you can't fake it. But this is by an edit, and I'm judging her by an edit, and she still has an ugly dress. So thank you for the comment, and bark, bark, woof, woof. Yes, I am a dog. But I am not even going to remotely say that this is like, you are, again, trash. I've said it for weeks now, that these people act like children throwing tantrums. And then when they get their way, they want to act like, oh, look at me. I did that. I'm so good. No, you threw a tantrum and you basically screwed yourself, as we're going to see from the setup here. Like, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you have to brag about how cool, like you doing something, how cool it is, then it's not really that impressive or like
Right.
coming from a good place.
Well, and the fact that, again, like I said, that she has to now, like, because then Parvati and David are like, should we go talk? Like, and she's like, well, should I come? Because, like, it was my boyfriend. Shut up. Shut up. God, she's just insufferable. She's insufferable at this part. And if she does win, I am going to fly over to wherever they film this, and I'm going to drown myself in the ocean right outside their huts because I can't. I'm not going to listen to her.
Yeah, I don't
being
think
like,
she
I won
wins. I think
Gandhi.
the winner is pretty obvious.
It is pretty
Yeah,
obvious at this
yeah.
point.
It's absolutely David. I mean, we can just say it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
if
no
it's
way
not
it's
David,
not.
it will be the biggest like blind side of all of us I think we've ever seen on a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get down with the mean girl mentality. I think it's just high school and you guys are supposed to be adults. So it's not even just that we are fans of Dixon and friends of Dixon, obviously, but it does go to show that Dixon was trying to give you an in here. He was trying to have himself, like, yes, of course, is he trying to set himself up better? 100%. Like, who wouldn't? But also, this is a leeway into another avenue for you. So you are now taking out Dixon, so you've got Parvati and David on the warpath. We are all pretty confident that David would have cut Parvati for Dixon. So that's not the issue here. But then you look into what happens. Granted, nobody has a crystal ball. They don't know what's about to happen, what twists are going to be thrown at them. But you have to prepare for every worst case scenario. And eliminating Dixon just because you have a vendetta against somebody isn't going to necessarily benefit you. And I think people, when you're not able to adapt and you go by emotion alone, I think we see it time and time again that it doesn't work out in their favor.
Yeah, because at least based on like how she described it, it was completely an emotional move. Like if there's any strategy, she's not saying it in the edit.
No, it was a terrible move for her. And I just think it's hilarious to brag about a move that was actually horrible for your game.
Right.
Yeah. So besides that insufferable first 5 minutes of my entire life, we jump into the challenge, which is money or power. And so I want to jump it. Jake, Shane, money or power? Which one are you picking?
It's hard to say because you don't know until you're there because only one person's going to win in the end. And like, yeah, you want it to be you, but if it's not going to be you, why not take 75,000?
Right.
Because it's not necessarily putting you out of the game. Like Philip still could have potentially held on and gotten above Letty, basically. Or actually, no, she had 2.5, right?
Yeah, she had 2.5.
There was a 2.75 on there. He could have gone above her and save.
Or he could have gotten above Parvati and CK, and then they're the bottom two.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, there's a bottom three.
Yeah. I mean, I think the issue is I too agree with you. Like, if we always say this, to get to win, you have to be in the end, right? You have to be in the end, or you have no shot. Like, no shot.
Yeah.
But in a game where it is only one winner, and we've seen that it's pretty much like a kind of a luck-based, challenge-based-esque type of situation, why not go home with some money? And we haven't seen any personal offers or anything like this entire season, so why not jump on this moment? And I think Philip should have taken the money. And I'm going to go into all of the thoughts that I would have had on this challenge as well, but I think that he should have held out to get above Letty, or like you said, get it even above the other two. But I mean, that moment, I don't know, in his head is of like, I just won the challenge, so now I can drop, not realizing that puts him in the bottom and vulnerable for David to take out.
Right. Like, at least based on what we saw, I feel it was a little unclear, but I feel like he dropped because he couldn't hang on, because they did just add all of David's weight to him, and David had CK's and Letty's plus his own, so that's a lot of weight.
It is a lot of weight. And I agree. I mean, I understand that completely. Trust me, I would have dropped in like 5 seconds of that challenge. I don't even think I would have seen a briefcase, but I mean, it's easier said than done. We're not on the island. We're not, I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, I could have held on for the biggest, whatever. But plus, I mean, David did tell him he was safe. So you have to take you have to somewhat make these deals in these games to try and further yourself. It just so happens that David, he's looking at, the future.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, I think I would have probably tried to hold out to get like saved a little bit of safety, but also if like I had all that weight, I'm not lasting that long. So I guess just hoping to get a lot of money out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we obviously are going to be bringing up this kind of bigger moment with Parv and CK here in a second, but walking through this moment here, Letty, of course, she has dropped for the 2.5. And so we are now left with, we see that the 3 million, which we'll come back to, was the biggest case because that there was nothing higher than that on the board. We now see that David is struggling, obviously, because now they can, once they go out, they put their weight on these people, which, I mean, that's part of the game. And so with that, when do you continue to make these like deals with people, but also protect yourself? Because we do see David here. He needs the power, or else he's immediately gone. They are 100% taking him out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's not a chance that he survives this unless he's in power.
Right.
And so again, I think it proves the point too that David has been putting in the legwork of creating these bonds outside of the family. We know that him and Philip have had the moments. Obviously, Philip and Parvati have like separated. Philip is, of course, 100% with Letty at this moment, but for that big moment, I think that that's a huge shining star moment of David to be able to convince him, let me be in power, knowing that could mean that he's going home, which, of course, like spoiler alert, does.
Right. Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm jumping ahead, but I also think Philip did not expect to go home, even though he was in the bottom.
Yeah, he even said it. He's like, I'd be shocked or whatever. I trust David. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I obviously none of these people besides Parvati have watched Australian Survivor and watched David play, and David would absolutely cut anybody that he needed to in both his seasons. So
yeah,
it's just funny how much trust people are putting in David.
Yeah. That obviously goes to show his gameplay, though.
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely.
And I know that you guys have seen his gameplay. I knew of him, not enough to know his gameplay, but like going on to Dondi, I would have known who he is just from you guys. But like, I've never seen him play, so I would be probably hanging on every word that he said too. Like, I wouldn't know who he is, But also, again, none of them know, and we see David sitting there saying, and Philip's harping on, we can't have another person. She's already won. It's our turn. And David's like, yes, our turn. Like, no two-time winner, And so it's kind of comical in a way to see that.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. I find it hilarious. Like, David's able to play up that he's never played these games or won these games before. So
yeah, for sure. So jumping back here, we do see that 3 million does come up. We see that CK is talking about like dropping. We see Parvati talking about dropping. Don't drop together. Like, let me take it. Okay, yeah, I'm going to take it. You take it. All these things that obviously they're across from one another. Who knows what got misconstrued there? They do both seem to be shocked that the other did drop. That did seem very genuine. So there obviously was a miscommunication across there from each other. But they do drop together, and now they split that 3 million, putting them in the bottom, which is the 1.5. I know when we were watching this, I was like, how does it count? Because they didn't really explain this well enough. Because like if I would have seen Letty drop, I would have dropped just to cut her at this point. You know what I mean? Like, granted, anybody that's in the bottom can go. So if you take her out at the 2.5, you know that that's a higher number. And you take her out, but does it mean you have to drop at the exact same time, or can somebody drop and then you see them drop and you're like, you know what? It's the same round. I'm going to drop too and take that from them.
Yeah, I think you can do that latter thing.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So there's a lot of strategy involved. Like, you have to trust if you're going to drop that somebody's not going to drop right behind you either. Because Philip could have easily dropped right behind David.
Right. Yeah, so I feel like, and we'll never know for sure, but I think Parvati is probably holding off till like the last second to drop just in case, and then CK dropped too.
Yeah.
So that kind of screwed her over.
Well, Joe does say, final call for this case, whatever, and you do see them drop. And like I said, I do think that this probably was a miscommunication because we have seen Parvati and CK working together. CK is literally in the middle here. She has no allegiance to anybody on this island left. She could care less. Obviously, the biggest competition for them is Parvati and David, and when it comes down to competition. So she has been working with Parvati. I don't necessarily think that this was a CK screwing Parvati type of situation, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they both didn't realize the other was going to drop in that moment.
Yeah. We do see instantly that Parvati is pissed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
She is
very mad.
livid. It's written all over her face because obviously it's been mentioned time and time again. She's been safe for 9 of these rounds. She has never once seen anything bottom looking ever. And so she would, she's a huge threat. I would be instantly obviously pissed, but then freaked out too. Like, what am I going to do?
Right.
Which I know we're going to get to David here and his decisions in a minute, but yeah, I don't know I would love to say that this was CK being brilliant and being like, screw Parvati, but I don't think that was.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I find it hilarious. I mean, I feel like we haven't seen like a pissed off Parvati since I think like the very first time she played Survivor and she was pissed at Jonathan Penner. Like I think that's the last time I've seen her like this pissed at somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's written all over her face though. So I'm like, girl, you're not even hiding it. You're not even hiding it.
Right. Well, I think she was probably also mad because I feel like she knows that she probably could have either won or gotten really far in that challenge because like she's won these types of challenges in Survivor before.
Yeah. She is really good at endurance, and we know that. Who knows though? I mean, if people start putting weight on her, who knows?
Yeah, I don't think any of the endurance challenges were like you throw more weight on. Like I know one of them was the holding your head with the bucket of water. Another one I think was
on the pole.
The pole. Yeah, pole, and then it was like holding poles on your hands against like a ceiling thing, or not a ceiling.
Yeah,
you know what I'm like a structure.
Yeah,
for sure. So we do see David obviously take this. Philip gets his 75,000. We know that, I mean, again, that amount of money is huge for anybody. So I think that they did a well-earned job of showing that on the show of how life-changing just even 75,000. I mean, we're looking at almost 10 million sitting in the pot right now. So it's crazy. Like you sit there and you're like, oh, it's only $75,000. It's not only, that's a huge amount of money. I know I'd be really excited for $75,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just seems small because they're like teasing that the winner is going to win the most money ever.
Yeah.
AKA David. But like it is. And Philip even kind of talks about it where he's never seen that kind of money before. And he's in a situation where that can really make a difference in his life. So I think that explains a lot about why he wanted to take that.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I do wonder. I'm a little worried for David going into Australia versus the world as well. If he does win this much money, that's a reason to target David in that game. But
would they have known? The only way that they would know is if Parvati spills it like immediately.
Yeah. Parvati would have to spill it. So
yeah, and they're going to be on opposite tribes, I assume. But also, I would guess that like. They're under contract, so they're not allowed to spill the results.
That's true, because that would way before.
Yeah, even if she does, they might not be able to show that in the edit.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it definitely makes me a little nervous. Although because David is like an all-star in all these challenges, and in a shorter game, I would anticipate that maybe you want to keep that around for a few days, but. I don't know.
It got super dark on me. I had to turn my light on.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I mean, a lot of things going into play, especially David knowing. I would assume that they would know because it's filmed pretty recently, right after, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they know that they're going to Australia too. I wonder if him and Parvati ever talked about that either on the island.
I'm sure they did. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
The edit.
Yeah, I mean, of course they're not gonna. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if like they were like. Oh, are you playing Australia versus the world? You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if that was a moment out there.
They probably did it in, like, subtle ways. Or she's like, oh, I'm going to be visiting Australia this summer.
Well,
right. Something like that, yeah.
Do you think that's why Parvati knew? Because she had watched Australian Survivor?
100%. Yeah. There's no way she watched it other than preparing.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, so let's get to this... what we thought was going to be a temple that was not a temple. I mean, I know that there was a lot of conversation beforehand. We had, David's trying to figure out who's going to take out who. CK is like, oh, I'll take out whoever you want, blah, blah, blah. We do see CK come to Parvati in the shower and she's like, I'm taking you out. And she's like, Parvati was like, oh, okay, we're going to play this game. Let me just tell you, I will, she went hardcore on her, like,
oh my God,
proving that why Parvati is a villain. I'm here for it.
Right.
I'm here for it.
yeah.
But yeah, if you're David and you want to win the game, I feel like your best bets are 100% going with CK and then likely Philip. But it seems like he really wants to go with Parvati, which, I mean, it's not a terrible thing because David likely could beat her in a challenge anyway. But I guess it just like speaks to how strong their bond is, that he's confident enough that he can win, but he still wants to risk it anyway.
I think for me, like, I sat there and I really thought this over a couple times last night. Is like, for me, I was looking at this, like, if you aren't keen on, like, whether you want Parvati there or not, like, you're like wishy-washy, like, oh, I could maybe get rid of her, but I could maybe like go to the end with her. I'm like, the best bet is to take out Philip here because CK is not going to be a competition threat to you.
Right.
And then you have Parvati go against the banker because either she wins and gets rid of Letty, or she loses and then she's gone. So you're getting rid of either Letty or Parvati here. But I do agree with you in the fact that I think what could have been his best case scenario is if he would have taken Parvati out here, put CK in against the banker, because then CK has to choose between Letty and Philip, and we haven't really seen her have an issue with Philip. So she picks Letty to take out because Parv's not there anymore. So then he is left with a Philip and a CK, which I think he would completely destroy. He would crush them. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. 100%. That's actually a really smart way to think about it.
Yeah. Like, I know initially last night I was like, oh, the best bet is to take Philip out here, put Parvati in, and then it's like she's going to take out Letty. So Letty or Parv's leaving. But then the more I thought about it, then you take Parv out right out the get-go and you're left with, because CK's not going to take out Philip. There's no threat there.
Right.
Yeah. That's very, very true. So.
And we already know that CK and Letty have had their issues. So yeah, I think the more I thought about it, I was like, better bet would have been to do it that way. But yeah, so we do see him. I mean, we see him take out Philip. Philip right before this, it's always a kiss of death. And I think Parvati said it too. She's like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I feel fine. And then Philip's like, I have all the trust in David ever. And I'm like, both of you just kissed of death right here. Like, both of you did this. But we do see David take out Philip. And then episode over. Like, all of us like, wait, what just happened? Did this mean to get cut off? Like, do we need to check this before we do a recap what happened
we were
here?
doing last night.
Again, like, they left us on a cliffhanger, but like Philip leaving, nobody cares. Like, that was not even a cliffhanger.
Right.
Well, like, whatever. I want to talk about this here, guys, because they spoiled the crap out of this. They spoiled the crap out of this. And I don't know if any of the viewers saw it, but I know you guys saw it. Do you guys want to get into this or what?
Yeah, so they're obviously showing this component where it seems like it's almost like a jury component, like your past mistakes come back to haunt you. And they show a door, and David opens the door, and there's Dr. Will. And then CK opens the door, and there's Seychelle. So CK is safe. Even if she plays the banker, it means she made a good deal. They don't show Letty, but the assumption is Letty is safe because they show Philip and then they show Parvati. But when they show Parvati, you can see Philip's next to her. They're on the same side.
Yeah. And they're both peering through the door. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That was I don't know if they meant to do that. I don't think they meant to because, like, you're leaving it for a cliffhanger for a reason. But, man, NBC, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's interesting to me. So I was wondering if, like, one of their biggest enemies or if it's two of them, because if Letty's getting both Parvati and Philip, but also, like, I would think they would have, if they were picking like one of the biggest enemies, I would think hers would be Dixon. So
yeah.
The thing about this though is I think because Parvati and Philip go out on the same night, that's why they're together on that side of the door, and they're gonna have all three of them are gonna have to come through this final door, which is Parvati and Philip. Is where I would guess.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very possible.
Because I mean, Seychelle's there. I mean, they're talking about your past, like, you know, all the past is going to come back to haunt you. Does that mean everybody? Does that mean we're going to get like a Rock and a, you know what I mean, Storm, all these
Right.
things? Or is it only people that they had a hand in taking out? You know what I mean? Do we get a Dixon in there? Do we get a, you know what I mean? Like, will Letty have to go through Dixon or things like that? So, I mean, it doesn't seem to me like this is a vote or not even like, I know we talked about it being like an advantage or a disadvantage. It seems almost like a time crunch. Like
Yeah.
like it might be a timed thing. We do see that Seychelle wants CK to grovel. That was another thing that was teased. We do see CK on the floor like a dog groveling, which I can't wait for that moment. Yay for me. But it's almost like they're going to present something to them that they're like, I am 100% not doing that. Like,
Yeah.
I refuse to like, for example, that's the only one we really got was the groveling. Like, CK sitting there for a minute, like, I'm not going to grovel to you. I'm not going to get down and, like, bow down to you. I'm not doing that.
Right.
And it's like, well, then you're not leaving this section until you do that. So then it's this battle back and forth of, like, do I, like, just grovel at this girl's feet, you know? So I'm wondering if that's what it is, like, something that's so unheard of. Like, where, you know, Will's like, I want you to tell me I was right about you winning Australia, you know, or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And then in order for them to continue, they have to face that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my biggest bet there.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense.
So, yeah, I think that was a huge mistake on NBC's part of their spoiler or preview for the next episode because it was very obvious that she was.
I feel like they've spoiled so much of the season in the trailer, and then like Joe has kind of spoiled the winner by at the very beginning. I think it was on RHAP. He's like, yeah, the final temple's crazy. The person turns down offer after offer after offer and gets the most money in reality TV history. So I'm like, given who's left, it's David.
Yeah. I mean, we've said that since the beginning that David is the likely candidate. I don't know. Like
him or Parvati, because we knew that they were going on Australian versus Survivor next, so they had another chance of winning money. So
But I feel like if Joe never said that, then the winner would be a lot more ambiguous because we know last season with Jordan, like nobody saw that coming.
No. Yeah, Jordan was like kind of a wild card pick, and then he won. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely again, but we're also saying that there's supposedly 2 more episodes too. It's like I'm assuming that we're gonna get the temple obviously next week, obviously with however Parvati leaves, whether it's by her making a bad deal or somebody taking her out. So we're gonna get that obviously, and maybe the beginning of this challenge, maybe.
Yeah, and then I think we get another cliffhanger.
And then we get another cliffhanger leading us into the final challenge of who in their final temple.
Yeah, so I feel like we'll get the final episode will probably be like the end of the final challenge, so whoever wins, and then mostly the temple, because it sounds like the temple goes on forever.
Goes long, yeah, for sure. Also bringing up the temple, I mean, we've tried to, you know, figure out who this banker is. I'm sticking with my guns, Meghan Markle. I think that that's a big enough reaction from these players that, like, she's well known. She's obviously a princess. Like, she was on Deal or No Deal Island as a briefcase holder. I know, Shane, you've brought up, like, Rosie O'Donnell or anybody that's been on NBC before, the talk show. It's got, obviously, they had a reaction. So, like, it's got to be somebody, like, completely massive. Like, if it's somebody, like, that's not, it's going to be, a joke.
Yeah, I just feel like, I've said it the whole time. I feel like it's someone from the NBC network. It's someone that's kind of like a celebrity.
Yeah.
The only clues we've gotten was like when David was facing the banker, and they made that like kinky comment. So like Rosie O'Donnell maybe could fit that.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of want to go with Rosie O'Donnell.
I can see. Yeah. Meghan Markle probably not, but like I'm still throwing that down because she would fit like a bit like banker-esque thing. I do think it's somebody tied to the dealer. Obviously, we had Howie last, as the banker, and stuff like that. So, I mean, I feel like it has to be connected to Deal or No Deal in some way. So that's why I'm sticking with Meghan Markle here.
Yeah, there has to be like some relevance to like why they're the banker. Because with Rosie O'Donnell, like, sure, she has money, but just like any celebrity, she has money. So, like, what makes her special to be a banker?
Yeah, for sure. Jake, any thoughts for you?
I mean, I think you guys covered, I guess, who it could be. I can't really think of anyone else I would guess. So your guesses are probably better than anything I could offer up.
The only other
Yeah.
thing that we have that we didn't like, I mean, I think we barely said this on one episode is like, we know that Howie's been on America's Got Talent. So it could be like a Simon Cowell maybe or something. Like,
They say it's a woman.
oh yeah, duh. Why did I think that? Heidi Klum. There we go. Heidi.
Well, yeah, I heard rumors when online people were speculating, and there's one name that I didn't recognize, but I think she was on America's Got Talent or something. It was Sophia something.
Sophia
But there's
Vergara?
no way. Yeah, but there's no way because apparently it's Joe's ex.
Yeah, there'd
Oh.
be
There's
no
no
way.
way.
Oh,
Also, like, could you like shock Joe and have her on there? That'd be
oh my
hilarious.
God, I'd love that. I don't know, Sophia Vergara.
Maybe that's the reaction because they're all like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
Yeah, but I read like their breakup or divorce was not the cleanest.
It's no. Listen, I know me some Joe because I'm gonna be his future wife,
Yeah.
but along with many others if you follow the podcast. But yeah, no, I mean, it definitely that would be a really kind of shitty thing to do, but I don't think.
Yeah.
But there's also been like Heidi Klum has been on there. Gosh, who else has been on there? Mel B from Spice Girls has been on there. There's been a lot, so it could be that
Yeah.
maybe a connection to Howie instead of Deal or No Deal.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like-
The fact that they showed a Meghan Markle comment on Deal or No Deal not like a couple weeks
Right.
ago makes me really want to double down on that.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, like, the other thing I was thinking is if it's from the NBC network, it could be from The Voice, because that's, like, one of the bigger shows. And, like, the only name that really sticks out there that's a woman would be Reba McEntire. But again, like, what qualifies her as a banker?
Listen, Reba is queen. Like, let me
Yeah.
have Reba. I will die if
She's queen. I mean, is she a legend?
She
Yes.
is a legend. She's an
So-
icon. I will die. I will die and I will message Dixon immediately being like, if you met Reba McEntire, I swear to God.
Oh my God. I guess I will take a wild guess because I'm confident this won't be who it is, but it'd be funny. I don't know, get Elizabeth Hasselbeck on there. I don't know. Like just I don't know, but I'm confident that won't be who it is, but like
Yeah.
I'll offer a wild guess.
Yeah, I mean, the fun thing is we have 2 more weeks to figure this out. I feel like Howie was such a huge like, oh my God, it's Howie that they've got it. Like, you got to
Right.
continue to trump this. So like, it's got to be something good.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like we all knew it was Howie. And,
Yeah.
like, this time, nobody seems to know, but they're also not giving clues or anything.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I was just guessing Elizabeth because I'm like someone who has a lot of fame from like reality TV and like I mean she got her position on The View because of Survivor.
Right.
So, like
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I mean, it is, it'll be exciting. That reaction seems like pretty exciting. So I'm excited to see who this banker is. So don't
Yeah.
disappoint NBC.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So yeah, we got I guess 2 more weeks of this left. Yeah, subscribe, like, comment, share this around. And
Bark. I don't know.
yeah, bark like a dog. I guess. Woof woof. And
Our new tagline.
with that, yeah, we'll see you around for the next episode on the Tribe of Nerds.